Okay, Mike, my name is Bill Gunn. I work for TechSide Aviation. I understand you've come over here from Australia to set up the business making the Mark 26B Spitfire, and you've got your new hangar here in Cisco, Texas, and you're going to walk me through, show me all the inventory of the parts that you have and how you put this airplane together, right?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, off we go then. Here, Mike.
These are purpose-built radiator. Of course, you can see the depth, and if you take the overall surface area, it's a little bit under a normal radiator. We have two of these in the aircraft, and these are very efficient. They are aluminum, polished aluminum. They're pressure tested to 200 psi, so we know the quality is in there.
Yeah.
And they cool the motor very efficiently.
And you have these purpose-built. And this is very identical to the wartime Spitfires. I knew they had two different kinds of scoops. This is like the later design scoop.
Yes, absolutely.
Very much mimicked. Does it work for them? It ought to work for you, and it seems to, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, love it.
And of course, then we have the spinners.
Yeah.
These are quite a big spinner they had.
And that's spun aluminum.
Yes, it is. This is again the rudder.
Yeah. That's a nice view of the rudder there, isn't it?
Yeah. That's
shows all the ribs here worked up.
Yeah. It's again pre-assembled. That's how we send it out with the other sheet on, of course.
Yeah. And like just on the trailing edge here, you know, you've got a little bit of overhang. So is that rolled over, or is there a rolled piece that fits on there?
Yes, it's rolled over and joined, and then riveted both sides.
I see. Okay.
And, we put a filler in to smooth it out.
Empty. This is the empty propeller. You got that. It's full. So you're talking about the air inlet down here. That's the air intake for the engine, as was on the World War II Spitfire. Just exactly the same design, right?
Yeah, it works exactly the same filtration system basically. It's not a dummy. It is real. They all work. This M here was a designated aircraft. That'd be M. You're flying, say M today, and I'm J.
Yeah.
We'd run along the thing with our pack on.
M for mother, J for Johnny, that sort of thing.
And you'd run along and you'd say M's mine, and I'd be going for J. And they were always put there because you're running along the line, of course.
So you could see it.
You could see it.
Yeah.
This is an oil cooler in behind there. Now the undercarriage, everything on this aircraft is functional.
Yeah.
Very similar to the original. Again, I wanted. It just turned out that way to do it properly. The aprons and everything, and of course the undercarriage is
falls outward, as in the original Legacy Spitfire.
Yeah. But everything on there is functional. That pretty much was on the original.
Yeah. And what actually raises and lowers the gear? Are they?
It's electric.
It's electric.
Yeah.
It's a linear drive screw jack motor, and you said there's a gas tube on there, so that the actual their counterbalance, so the gear will go up and down just with almost no weight on there, and so the screw jack is just basically moving it, not having to pull it.
The whole idea was to take the load off the system that was driving it to neutralise that load.
And just in case there was a failure of some sort or a pull, can you get is there a way of getting the landing gear down, the undercarriage down in emergency?
There's safety pins in there. You pull the pins out and it disconnects the engine, the motor, from the axle, and the going to come and drop down.
And you flight tested all this and it does work?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's... Okay, Mike, well, the cockpit's always the business end for any pilot, so why don't you tell me a little bit about the office here for this Spitfire?
Okay, this is a two-seater. They're all two-seaters. The second seat goes where the radio equipment went. And it's quite a roomy cockpit in there. Really, there's the Spitfire World War II was quite narrow in there, and now they've taken all the radio gear. There's quite a bit of room there for a second passenger.
But it looks very roomy. Like it'd be very comfortable for long cross country or any kind of maneuvering flight or pleasure flight, whatever you want. I noticed that
I've flown around and across Australia many times. Some very long distance flights.
And quite comfortable?
Yes.
For long trips?
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. I see the control column mimics the oval grip of the Legacy Spitfire, the World War II Spitfire. And over on the far right side, the two levers sticking up, what's that over there?
That's the undercarriage. That's for the retract of the undercarriage. You pull those back to activate the undercarriage.
So the pilot has to switch hands, but I think the wartime Spitfire was
Absolutely.
similar. It had a chassis lever over there that, and so you pull those back and then the gear is raised electrically, is that right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Again, very similar to what the original had, if you look in the original Spitfire.
Yeah, and the cockpit layout, the instrument layout looks very much like the Legacy Spitfire, very similar, which of course adds to the authenticity, because I would think people need to you know, if it's going to be a living bit of history, which it is, it needs to give them the feel and the tenor and the shape and the look and the smell of the Legacy Spitfire, which is exactly what this aircraft does.
Yep.
I mean, this is a Spitfire. This is a real aircraft. This is a Spitfire.
Of course, having the name Supermarine and being basically given it by one of the original founders, I was very proud of that.
Yeah.
So again, I had to honour that name.
Yeah. Okay. And just to think about this a little bit, Supermarine was the original company that did the Snyder Trophy racing aircraft.
Absolutely.
And R.J. Mitchell was the chief designer. Very small company in the south of England.
Yes.
And then they were bought out by Vickers, I understand, a large conglomerate.
Joined hands, basically.
Okay, joined hands.
Yep.
And so it was then always referred to as the Vickers Supermarine.
Yes.
And you were able to tell me how you got the name Supermarine.
One of the ladies, there's two daughters of one of the original founders, and they're still alive. One's in England and one's in Australia. And had the very good fortune of the lady in Australia giving a speech at a walrus that was being unveiled and whatever in a museum. And
walrus being one of the seaplane aircraft
that Mitchell and their company built during the war, previous to the war. And anyway, she found out what I was doing and made quite an effort and gave a little speech on the whole lot and said her father would be absolutely thrilled to know that the name was now going to build Spitfires rather than cans or saucepans or something like that.
Yeah.
And she said it was quite an honour.
Excellent. So really, you legally acquired the name and you legally hold the name
Absolutely.
Supermarine Aircraft.
Absolutely.
That's tied to the aircraft, so the legacy lives on. That's the great thing about it, isn't
exactly.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, everything fits in here pretty nicely. Why don't you tell me a little bit, what kind of engine is it to start out with?
This is the LS2, the Corvette, 430 horsepower. Over a number of years now, 7 to 10 years, we've developed this engine. We first got onto it when it came out brand new. We particularly like this engine because it's been designed by GM to run at very high revs all its life. It's basically a stationary engine, beautifully developed, sumps in the right place for us. It's got independent coils. We put a dual ignition system on electronic. We've developed that over the years too. But we basically use the core of the engine and we put solid billet rail, fuel lines and aircraft fittings on it.
Well, Mike, tell me about the redrive in the aircraft. You told me this is your own design, and how does that work?
Yes, this is my own design. It's a belt drive.
Yeah.
And again, many years of research and development and testing. We've had the airframe anchored, and we put load cells and load test equipment on the redrive for pull out on the main shaft.
Oh, really?
And also break out on the housing.
With this system in and running, you actually did G-load testing on it 2.5 times any load this would ever expect, and the deflection and movement on the redrive was almost not measurable.
Yes, the engineer said it's almost too small to measure. This is the Motec. This is the brain. This is what powers our engine.
Okay, so this is the proprietary engine control unit made by Motec, and this was tested specifically for aviation for this engine, right?
It is,
So, and this has got a double mode operation. So you've got
for aircraft use.
For aircraft use with a primary and a secondary backup with 2 pickups, and basically 8 independent coils, 8 independent ignition systems. So any single failure was not going to cause any problems.
No, there's thousands of hours and hundreds of thousands of dollars invested.
Yeah, and this was a lot of money and a lot of years of work to get this thing squared away, right?
So much vibration inside?
No, it's good. They're very smooth engine, beautifully smooth. It's very progressive power, lovely right through the full range.
All right.